Hello, my name is Father Dimitri, and I'm here in Lakeland, Florida. Today I wanted to date myself a little bit. I was born in the 70s, so I'm an 80s child, and growing up during the 80s, there was a lot of different movies that came out that had a lot of taglines that everybody remembered and everybody quoted. And one of those movies that was really cutting edge at the time, obviously, and it was very smart, and actually reflecting back on it now is actually quite terrifying, was the movie WarGames. In the movie WarGames, a supercomputer named Joshua is hacked into, and the person hacking into it tells the computer, and the reason why he's hacking into the computer in the first place is that he wants to play some new games. And he tells the computer that he wants to play basically nuclear war. So the hacker unintentionally activates and triggers scenarios of warfare, and the silos are opening and the terror is going and everybody is running in fear, and all the rest of the countries are seeing it too. And one of the famous lines in the movie is, "Shall we play a game?" Joshua, the computer, asks the question, "Shall we play a game?" And throughout the movie and all the scenarios that they put in, every scenario that is inputted into the computer is found to be a losing scenario. And at the very end, Joshua figures out, and of course it's mentioned in the movie, the only way to win the game is not to play the game at all. So when Jesus comes into the world, he teaches us some very interesting things that completely go opposite of what we really want to do in the world. He teaches us especially this one thing on the Sermon on the Mount, is to love our enemies and to pray for our persecutors. The church is full of people today that are actually hateful, and the church is full of people that fight in ways that is really contrary to what Jesus actually taught. Now, myself being from Colorado, the first thing I want to do a lot of times is pick up a weapon and fight back. I want to be able to fight. I want to be able to do the things I need to do to take care of my country, take care of my family, take care of the people that I love. But Jesus knew when he came, and this is why the Jews really were angry at him, is because they wanted him to come and wipe Rome off the map of the earth. But Jesus knew that open rebellion to oppression always would fail. And ignoring the systematic oppression or passively accepting it was equally misguided. Jesus, though, chose a third way other than violence with violence and then passively accepting that violence. He chose an active nonviolent resistance. When he took up the cross, when he was carrying the cross towards that place where he would ultimately meet his end as a human being, he was carrying the cross for all of us. And really, when we fight against all these things, and there's so many hot button topics today that so many of us are up in arms against, really, we need to fight back in the way that is holy. We need to fight back in a way that is pure. We need to fight back in this way that Jesus taught us to fight. Active, nonviolent resistance. That doesn't mean to lay down and take everything that comes our way. That means that we need to be active about what we're doing. And one of those things is being called to prayer. Jesus himself told us when you try to cast out certain demons that you would have to fast and pray. Well, a lot of the things that are happening on the earth today, a lot of the things that are being misguided, and a lot of the things that people are believing in, those all have to do with a lot of demonic oppression that are in this world. And the only way to really face those things is to fast and pray and to go before the throne of God and ask God to actively come into the situation. But a lot of times we get into these verbal battles on Facebook, and we get into a lot of these verbal things all over the world that really doesn't end on anything. And then we end up killing people, we end up hurting people, we end up debasing people and everything else. So really, we need to take a lesson from the movie WarGames. Shall we play the game? I don't think we should. I think the only way to win is not to play the game. We need to stand on the side who is on the Lord's side. That's what Joshua asked. And I know I'm going a few minutes over on my 5 minutes, but that's what Joshua asked that day when the rebellion happened. He says, as for me and my house, we shall serve the Lord. There was a line drawn. There was two groups of people, those that stood with God and those that didn't. There is no neutral when it comes to our belief in God. If you believe in neutrality, then you are actually on the winning side. We have to be actively willing to fight against the forces of darkness in order to win. So may the Lord bless you and protect you and keep you safe. And Christ is risen. God bless.